Job interviews. Ugh. For a lot of us, just hearing those two words can make our stomachs do a little flip. But what if I told you that acing an interview isn't some random stroke of luck? What if it's actually a skill, something you can practice and get really good at? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to take all that stress and turn it into real, solid confidence.
So let's just be real for a second. What's the fear all about? For most people, it's that nightmare scenario where your mind just goes completely blank. Or maybe you get a question you weren't expecting and you start stumbling over your words. That feeling is totally normal. But the good news is, we're about to replace that feeling with a rock-solid strategy.
You know, this slide really gets to the heart of it. It shows the two paths you can take. On one side, you can just cross your fingers and hope for the best. That's a passive approach, and honestly, it's just stressful. But on the other side, you can prepare for success. That's where you take control. You become proactive, and that's where true confidence comes from. That's the big shift we're making today.
And here it is, the secret sauce for this whole thing. It's a simple equation. Preparation gives you clarity, and that clarity is what fuels genuine confidence. See, this isn't about memorizing a bunch of answers and sounding like a robot. It's about knowing your own story and your values so well that you can't help but be confident.
So here's our game plan for building that confidence. First, we'll lock in that core mindset. Then, we'll talk about how to adapt to any kind of interview, phone, video, you name it. After that, we'll get into how to structure your story, master the super powerful STAR method, and finally, make sure you can stay cool, calm, and collected under pressure.
All right, Section 1, the confidence equation. This is our foundation. We're about to see how a little bit of structure isn't just a chore. It's the magic ingredient that turns all that nervous energy into calm, focused control.
I love this quote because it just takes all the pressure off. Read that again. You don't have to be perfect. No one is expecting perfection. They're just expecting you to be prepared. And that is a goal anyone can achieve. It's about readiness, not robotics.
Okay, on to Section 2, adapting to the format. Being truly prepared means knowing what kind of game you're playing. Is it in person, over the phone, a video call? Because each one of those has its own set of rules.
When you're in the room with someone, everything is on display, right? Your posture, your handshake, your eye contact, it all adds up to that crucial first impression. The goal here is just to project a quiet confidence. Sit up straight, keep your tone calm, and just be open.
But what happens when they can't see you? In a phone interview, your voice has to do all the heavy lifting. It needs to convey your energy and your professionalism. And those pro tips there, they are absolute game changers. Seriously, try it. Sit up straight and put a smile on your face when you talk. It literally changes the tone of your voice and makes you sound way more engaging.
And now for what's become the new normal, the video interview. You're basically the director of your own little professional broadcast. Getting the small stuff right, like having the camera at eye level and looking at the camera, not at your own face on the screen, it makes a huge difference in how you come across.
Okay, Section 3, structuring your narrative. So we've nailed the environment, now let's talk about the actual content. A great interview isn't just a random Q&A session. It's you telling a clear, structured story about your professional life. And it all starts with that classic first question.
Ah, yes. So, tell me about yourself. It sounds so casual, so simple, but it's actually a huge invitation to just ramble on and on if you're not ready for it. So, how do you absolutely nail this answer every single time?
You use this simple three-part formula. It's that easy. First, a quick summary of your relevant background. Second, connect your best skills directly to what they're looking for. And third, tell them where you're headed in your career and why this specific job is the perfect next step. It's a clean, powerful, and professional way to answer.
And here's what that structure sounds like in the real world. You see how it flows? It starts with the past, the degree, connects to the present, the skills you have right now, and it points to the future, the role you want. It's clear, it's structured, and most importantly, it's relevant. That's the goal. Moving on to Section 4, the STAR method. Now, for all those, tell me about a time when questions, we need a special tool, and that tool is the STAR method. Think of it as your secret weapon for turning your past experiences into powerful stories that prove you've got the skills.
So, what is STAR? It's just an acronym for a simple storytelling framework. Instead of just saying, oh yeah, I'm a good problem solver, this method forces you to show it with a real-life example. It gives the interviewer the proof, the evidence they're actually looking for.
Let's break it down real quick. S is for situation. Just paint a quick picture of what was going on. T is for task. What was your specific goal or responsibility? A is for action. This is the most important part. What did you specifically do? And finally, R is for result. What happened? What was the outcome? If you can put a number on it, even better.
So let's look at a quick example for a question about handling a challenge. Situation: our project was behind schedule. Task: my job was to get it back on track. Action: I reorganized the workflow and set up daily check-ins. Result: we submitted it ahead of the new deadline. See, it's concise, it's structured, and it ends with a win. That is so much more powerful than a vague answer.
And now for our final section, calm under pressure. We're in the home stretch now, and this is all about delivery. You can have the most brilliant answers in the world, but how you say them is just as important. This is about mastering your body language and handling those tough questions with grace.
You know, confident body language is actually pretty quiet and controlled. Sitting up straight, having natural eye contact, not fidgeting, it all sends a message of composure. But I want to zoom in on that last point, because it's a big one. Pausing before you answer.
I really want this one to sink in. Taking a 2 or 3 second pause after they ask a question isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of thoughtfulness. It shows them you're actually considering the question instead of just blurting something out. It's not awkward, I promise. It's powerful. And now for the question everyone dreads. So, what's your greatest weakness? The key here is to never ever give a dead-end answer. Instead, you frame it as something you've worked to improve. Acknowledge a real challenge you had, but then immediately pivot to the tools or strategies you now use to handle it. It shows self-awareness and a desire to grow.
So, what's next? Here's your homework, your action plan. Don't just watch this and forget about it. Put it into practice. Try to answer one interview question a day. Record yourself on your phone to see what you actually look and sound like. Prepare 2 of your own star stories. And the big one, do at least 1 practice interview this week.
So let's end with this. This is the big takeaway. Confidence isn't something you just hope for on the day of the interview. It's something you build, piece by piece, through smart preparation. Use these tools, do the work, and you will walk into your next interview not with anxiety, but with the calm control you need to absolutely crush it. You've got this.